The private practice section is part of the American Physical Therapy Association, and they do an annual conference geared towards business owners. And what I shared in the previous video was just how big and expansive the Expo Center is. It is massive. I mean, it could easily fit 10, 15,000 people, if not more. But the problem is there's only like 1,200 people attending, and then there's another 6 or 7 that are the vendors. So we had a booth. Practice Freedom U had a booth. We were represented, and I was there with my wife Colleen and one of my coaches, Lindsay. And what I learned from being there for 3 days is a couple things. One, as I suspected, everything had the word or the initials AI in it. So whatever you were selling, whatever technology or software, AI was a part of it. So that's probably not that surprising. It was a little surprising that there were at least 3 EMRs, and in the physical therapy world we call them EMRs. I know in mental health and others they may call it EHR, but they're the same thing. They do the scheduling and billing and all that. So there was 3 EMRs that I heard of. One, the other 2 I've never heard of. So I find that interesting that I guess the shark-infested waters of EMRs is still alive and well, even though there's been such consolidation in the industry, and there's most private practices are smaller, so EMRs are kind of tougher for that group as far as to really make that much money versus big, lots of providers. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing that I noticed is I talked to a fair number of business owners, and there's more people that are inundated with noise than ever. I guess that's probably the easiest way to explain it. There's so much noise that's out there, and it is disrupting how we are focusing on our business. It is preventing many of us from actually staying intentional and focused in doing whatever, it's growing our business or focusing on any particular aspect of our business. And that's important because it's getting worse. And when you walk into a conference, unless you have a clear plan, something that you know what you're looking for, you're basically being sold on their agenda. Because they're all there to sell their services, to get their name, to follow up with you, and to sell your services. They're not there to decide whether you need the services or not, whether it's aligned with your goal or not. They're just there to sell their thing. And there's lots of great products out there. There's lots of great technology and lots of great AI. But knowing what you need, knowing when do you need it, what's happening is the decisions are still being made by the owner, by themselves. That was the big take-home message that I saw. These really critical decisions are being made by individual owners who are in the middle and the thick of their business, trying to make decisions the best they can, but the decisions they're making are trying to solve problems, and it's not the problem that they think they have. I'll give you an instance. So I was talking to an owner, and they were having trouble with retention, right? Hiring retention. So they're having trouble with retaining providers. And there was a program there. It's a friend of mine's program. Actually, he's one of our coaches, so he's okay with me talking about it. And it was called Onus One. Now it's prompt compensation. But basically, it's a model to basically be able to pay your providers more like salespeople, that if they see more people, they get paid significantly more money. And this person was like, I was going to look at that compensation model for my staff. And I said, have you spoken to your staff about it? And they're like, no. Do you feel like that is going to go over well with your team? He goes, I don't know. And I was like, yes, you may have a problem with retention, but bringing in something like that without getting really clear of why you're having a problem with retention. Is it because every single person that you have is wanting more money and they're leaving if they don't get more money? Okay, this could be a way to give them more money or give them an option for more money. Or they want more money and they're willing to work for it, but you don't have a plan in place. You don't have a compensation plan, so this would be a great way to compensate your providers, your staff. And when I was talking to this individual and I started asking questions, he started to realize that the timing wasn't right here. He needed to focus more on what the vision for the company was, what the values and the expectations of the company was. He didn't do that yet. And because he didn't do that, if he introduced something like this, it could have a negative effect. And he was about to do it. And after speaking with him, he was like, I still think this could be something really good for me, but maybe not right now. Maybe let me put this other stuff in place first, like a vision, like, my values, have what's called a state of the practice, like a State of the Union, conversation with everybody, like in the beginning of January. And let me start there. And I was like, I think that's a good place to start. That alone could have caused havoc in his business. Not just financially putting out more money and not potentially getting what he was going to look for. But those are the type of decisions that we're making all the time. And we're getting spammed and we're getting inundated with so much stuff that it's hard to keep out the noise. And 98% of the stuff that's coming to you is noise. There's something called noise versus signal. A signal is different. A signal is clear. A signal is clarity. A signal is alignment. Noise is just noise. It just keeps you non-focused on what's most important. So that's like the biggest thing that I've learned in this conference, talking to people and being the expo. AI is here, and thinking that AI is the solution to your problems is a bad way to think about it. AI is a tool. It's a very good tool. It can be an amazing tool, but it's a tool. And if you don't know how to understand what tools you need, when, and how to implement them, and how to manage them, that's the area that you as an owner need to focus on first before you start throwing money at these different tools and perhaps going down rabbit holes that will take a lot to get out of. Anyways, I wanted to share this with you in the PF Practice Freedom community. And if you have any questions or thoughts or comments, please let me know. And of course, never hesitate to reach out if there's anything that I or we can do to help you. So I'll see you next time.